Hey families, it's Mrs. Bauer. I decided to make a quick video about homework. So today I'm giving out homework and the first page looks like this. It's an open-ended writing assignment. And I know for some of my friends in the class this would be very intimidating for them, but I do want them to try it anyway. So I wanted to explain to you families about my expectations for writing. So I am well aware that some of my friends are still working on letters and their sounds and blending it all together. So for those children, I really do want them to try to write one sentence. In second grade, it's perfectly okay for them to do inventive spelling, which means that they spell words just based on their sound. They won't look right necessarily, but it will make sense based on their sounds. And maybe they won't even hear all of the sounds and they won't get all the letters. It's all right. So let me give you a demonstration of that right now. So the writing assignment for next week's homework is the directions say, imagine that you have a pet turkey. How would you care for your bird? What types of food would you feed them? Why would you give them a name? What type of home would you create for them? So that's a lot of questions for some of my friends. Now, some of my other friends, they can write all of that, and they should. Don't let them off the hook if they can, if they're very capable. But for my other friends, if they just want to write one sentence like, I would keep my turkey in the garage, like they could just write that. So in class, when it's time for them to write, this is what I tell them to do. If they know a word, they should just write it fast. Most of our kids know how to write the word I. They might put a lowercase I. They probably are going to put a lowercase I. You can tell them to make that a capital because I do all the time. So they would write that word I fast. And I'm writing it as I go. And then the next word, I would have them reread it. After they wrote the first word, they'd have to reread the sentence, I would. Now, some of my friends, they have trouble hearing every single word in the sentence. You might have to give them a little assistance, reminding them what their sentence says and what words they're missing. But this is I would. Now, would doesn't play fair, and it's a very hard word to write. It's a sight word. So some of my friends, they can write it fast. Go ahead. For my other ones, this is what I tell them to do. First, I tell them to clap the word, would. It's one syllable. And then they take each syllable and they stretch it out. Would. And then, oftentimes, I ask them to say it like a mountain, which would not make sense to you, but I'm going to show you that right now. So if I said it slowly, I would go, would. When you make it like a mountain, you really hear those vowel sounds, which are everything in writing. So I would do it a whole bunch of times. Would. Now, each one of my fingers is not necessarily one letter. It's just one sound. So, would. Okay, maybe they will know that's a W. Maybe they won't. It's all right. If they hear a W, they can put a W. If they hear something else, you can steer them in the right direction, or you can just let it go. So I'll leave that up to you. So would. Now they might be like, oh, what's the sound? They could ask you and you could tell them that would doesn't play fair and it's a OU. But if they put a O or a U, if they think that sound is a O or OO or a U, which I would expect them to say if they heard that, would. That's okay. I'm going to put two O's because I expect most of my friends to say that would be two O's. So then they would keep making the mountain until they were done. Would. And a lot of friends can hear that last sound, but sometimes they can't. So they just write the sounds they hear. So I would. It's hard to do it on camera. So I would have them reread the sentence, I would keep. So once again, if they don't know how to spell keep, they have to clap it out. Keep, it's one syllable, stretch it. Keep, say it like a mountain. Keep. Now some of my friends, they might think that K is actually a C. That's okay. This is called inventive spelling. They put the sounds down that they hear, but it's not necessarily spelled right. I can usually read it. Not all the time, but I've been doing this for a long time, so I can usually figure out anything your children write. Keep. Now they might hear the E and just put one E because they're not at the point of understanding vowel teams. They're just trying to get those initial sounds in, those basic sounds, and that's okay. I will know that. Some of my other friends are getting really good with vowel teams. They might know that it's an EE. They might put it as an EA, or they might put it as an E by itself. Anything is possible. Eep. And then they can put the P. Most of my friends can probably tell you that's a P. So once they write that, they go back and reread it to get the next word. I would keep it. And if they don't know it, clap it out. It. Say it slow. It. Say it like a mountain. It. That's only 2 sounds, so we don't go all the way back down on the mountain. It. I might have some friends that call that an E instead of an I, or some friends just might put a T. It. Because at this point in their education, they are at just understanding that there are sounds in a word. They don't know all the sounds yet. They will get there. It will just take a very long time. So if they put this for it, I still accept it. It's okay. That's still considered inventive spelling. So they go back and read it. I would keep it in. In. They don't know how to spell it. Clap it out. 1 syllable. Say it slowly. In. Say it like a mountain. In. So once again, I have some friends, when they write in, they only write it as an N, and it's usually an uppercase N. So this is what it might look like. I would keep it in the garage, I think I said. So most of my friends can spell the. If they know how to spell it, I tell them to spell it fast. Or I say, when they spell the, I always say, ready, spell. And they say T-H-E, the. So most of my friends know that. If they don't, you can give them the. The's a very tricky word. It doesn't play fair. And then they go back and reread it. I would keep it in the garage. So they're not going to know how to spell garage, and I don't want you just to spell it for them. I want them to go through the motions. So first they clap it out. Garage. That's 2 syllables. And so when we say garage, sometimes that AR sounds like an R or an ER to my friends. And that's okay because it doesn't play fair either. They will get there with the not play fairs as they get older. They'll learn more words, they'll learn more sight words, and those things will fall into place. But as a 7-year-old, as an 8-year-old, they don't have to know how to spell all the not play fair words. There are too many. So clap it out, garage. So the first syllable is the first clap. So you say gur, and then you stretch it out, gur. They might put a GR, honestly. They might do that. So then you can say it like a mountain, g. That might help them hear the 2 different sounds, but even if they put a GR, write a GR. I'll help figure out the word. It's okay. And if I don't, I know what they're doing. I know they're hearing the sounds and the words that they want to say. So it's very important that their writing is their words, so they can have ownership of it. They know that their words can be in print. The things they say are the things we write. We say it all the time. If you can say it, you can write it. We say that constantly. Garage. Now, like what the heck you do is that? I don't even know. Aj. So they might say that's a O, and they might say that's a J or a G. That's okay. Have them do the inventive spelling. Don't just give them everything. Make them go through the motions. Eventually they'll get more words right than they get wrong. And this, the practice of doing this shows them that the words that they make are made up of sounds, and those sounds can be written down on paper, and that is super important, especially as our kids are going into 3rd grade. They're going to have to write more and more and more, so I do want them to write a paragraph, but if they're not there yet, if this is what their sentence looks like, that's good. Encourage them to have the neat handwriting. That's a thing that we're working on a lot in class. Make sure that they have finger spaces. That's another thing that I'm encountering. A lot of children don't have those big finger spaces. I'd rather have really huge finger spaces than none. Capital letters in the right space. and end it with a punctuation. So if those are the things you can oversee. Otherwise, you do want them to try to hear those sounds and words. It's very, very important. And if you're a little person at home isn't at the point of writing multiple sentences, it's okay. They can still write something. They do for me, so I know they can do it for you, and they can do it on their homework. So try not to just give them all of the answers. Let them fight for those words. And if my friend is a writer, then they should be writing a full paragraph with all those juicy details. That's what we call them in class, our juicy details. And so I would love to see those. Make sure they have their capital letters and their periods and they're writing as neat as possible. And then the other thing I want to talk about briefly is math. There's always a lot of math in my homework packs because they give us those books to give you, and I want to share them. Remember that the math part, the first page, is always a homework helper for you. So if you're like, what is this woman teaching at school? This is for you. Also, if they're really stuck on a lesson, I can give you, I can find a video link that would match the lesson that we're doing, that you can have them watch it, or you can watch it with them so you can better explain it. Maybe they missed something from me in the classroom. And also, so when they're doing their work, just know that you don't have to do every single problem. You don't have to. So like this first page, it has A through G, and then it goes on to a couple on the back. As you get further down, the problems get harder. If your friend at home is struggling with math, have them do just the first 3. They don't have to do the whole entire page. I will still give them full credit. Or if you're just super swamped and your friend is really good at math, your child's really good, have them do the last 3 or 4. And instead of the first, they go backwards on it, because those are the harder ones, the more enriching ones. So those are the ones I would want them to do if they are able to do it. And if they can handle the whole page, have them do the whole page. Also, remember, Zearn is always an option. I only have 2 people in the class that I know that is working on Zearn at home. You do need a computer or a tablet, and they go onto the Clever website, which houses all of our apps in DPS. So it has iReady on it, it has Zearn, it has Mayan. Mayan's another video I need to make for you. And they can go onto Zearn. And sometimes we get a little behind on our Zearn lessons, but I do try to occasionally catch them up so that the lesson they're doing on Zearn matches what we're doing in class. So it's like another teacher. And if they do that instead of the work pack, I am very fine with that, because it reteaches it to them. There's a part where they do a little bit of fluency, they do some math facts, and then a teacher comes on and kind of walks them through the work. So if they're struggling with the homework, go to do the lessons on Zearn. Just do a whole bunch of lessons on Zearn, and it's help with their homework without it being so much on you. And even if they don't do the math portion of the homework pack, they would get credit for math by doing Zearn. Even if it's a few lessons off, that's fine too. So if you need your child's username or password to get onto Clever, that's the website that houses Zearn, just message me and I have no problem getting it to you. I check my messages pretty frequently, so it might take me 24 hours, but I will get it to you. And I hope that answers any questions about homework. I take homework late. I also give it out on Friday, because I know in my household, Monday night is swim night, and we might not have time to be messing with homework on Monday nights because we're just so tired. And sometimes you're just not feeling good, or you're dragging and you don't have it in you to do homework with your children. So I give it on Friday. So if you need the weekends, you have it. If you don't like doing homework on the weekend, don't do homework on the week. Start on Monday. That doesn't matter to me, but I try to give next week's math homework on Friday, even though we might not have taught 100% of everything in that pack yet. We will by the next week, but in case you need that extra time to do it, you have it there. So once again, if you have any questions, please message me. Please encourage your children to do homework. I know in 3rd grade, it's a serious business. There are teachers that will give them less of a grade. They'll mark them late and they'll lose points. So we really want them to be in the habit of turning in something. So that's all I'm asking. Do something at home. I know they work all day in school and they put a ton on at home. I'm not for that either. So even if they just do part of it or what they can handle, that would be great. So, and it's a good thing for you to see how they're struggling or what they're doing really well. Maybe you didn't know they were doing really well in something. But have a great weekend. I love teaching your babies. I love coming to work every day. I love seeing them. They're a really great group of kids. So have a good weekend. Relax sometimes too. And I'll see them in about 15 minutes. Bye. Don't subscribe to my videos.